Welcome to the Model Railroad Scenery Special Edition standalone video, a companion video to the Model Railroad Layout Update series. In this first Part 1 video, we'd like to cover some of the reference material that guided us on scenery for our original layout. These are some of the good how-to books, publications that we referenced as we started off scenery on our previous layout. We'll then move on to some other publications that we uncovered as we search to take our scenery to the next level. These are publications that perhaps not everyone's aware of, but are certainly worthy of your consideration if you desire to take your scenery to the next level. We'll also show some inspirational photographs, screenshots of layouts that we are going to try to emulate as we progress and get very, very close to starting the scenery on our own layout. This is certainly not to be an all-encompassing video series. I'm sure there are many other fine books, websites, DVDs, and other reference materials that are out there that we just aren't aware of or have chosen not to purchase. If you know of other very good items, please post them in the comments so all of us can benefit and find new and beneficial reference material, how-to material, and inspirational material as we strive to improve the scenery for all our layouts. In the Part 2 of the series, we'll move on to showing some of the more unique products. We'll touch briefly on some of the standards, the old standbys, the Woodland Scenics type products. But we're going to mention some other products that you might not necessarily be aware of, at least those modelers here in the United States. I think our European friends will smile and say, ah yes, we know exactly what you're talking about. Most of these products are available in the States, although some are not, unless you special order through someone such as Scenic Express. However, they're outstanding products and certainly worthy of your consideration if you want to strive to meet scenery at the level that we're going to see later on in this video. So sit back, enjoy, and again, please comment if you like this series, if you think it was helpful, beneficial, or, again, please let us know other sources that you have found that have helped you along as you try to make your scenery as realistic as possible. Thank you. Alright, so when it comes to reference materials and kind of guidance or how-tos on how to do scenery, these are the ones that I have, and some of the ones that I recommend and some that I wouldn't necessarily recommend. So we'll quickly kind of walk through these. These are probably familiar to a lot of people. Kind of the classic is Model Railroad Scenery by Dave Frary, a very good scenery guy. It's getting a little bit dated. This version is 2005, but it does go through, kind of gives you the basics. You know, ground forming, tunnel portals. How to, you can even chicken wire and different stuff, and adding basic techniques and ground cover and whatnot, how to make wet water. He covers things like, how to use fake fir grass, which to me it looks like fake fir, so I don't like it. I don't like that technique. I wouldn't color my own sawdust. To me, it just doesn't look right. And how to do rocks and everything. So not a bad book. Again, kind of dated. Although, even here, he talks a little bit about polyfiber. He does mention in here some of the sill floor products, even way back here in 2005. Not a lot. Certainly not in a lot of detail, and not like we're going to see can be accomplished with those products in some later publications. Again, a lot on trees and whatnot that I'm not going to cover in this particular video. Overall, a good basic book to have, probably a worthy addition to your library. The next we have the Scenery Tips and Techniques, one of the Model Railroad or Clumb publications. Kind of similar. Again, kind of covers just the basics, ground foam, adding some weeds. I'm not into this kind of silly stuff where you put lightning bolts and try to make it look like it's raining. That to me is just silly, but okay. Some good stuff on winter, if you want to model winter stuff, which I'm not, but some good stuff on that, which is pretty good. And then more on trees, and they do talk a little bit about how they make puffball trees, which I will never, ever do another puffball tree. I don't like it. It doesn't look realistic to me. So I'm not going to do that on our layout. So it's going to cost a lot more in trees, but I'm not doing puffballs. And some other stuff, and some pine trees, a lot more on trees and whatnot, and some basic techniques, weeds and stuff. Not bad, not a bad book. I mean, none of these are really bad. It's certainly worth having for your library to learn various things. So this is Tony Custer's book on planning. Again, it really is more about planning, kind of the concepts, how to plan your scenery. I love that picture with the big eraser. I think that's pretty cool. This is a pretty good read. Just some of the information. All right, sorry about that. The phone rang, of course. Whenever you start shooting video, the phone rings. Another thing in Tony's book, he talks about, again, when you're making a layout of a particular prototype. And sorry again, got a voicemail left by my senator, Pat Toomey, here in Pennsylvania. Hooray. So another thing Tony talks about is kind of, if you're modeling a particular prototype, having some of the signature structures, elements of the scene to kind of bring it home. That look good idea. Again, this is mostly a conceptual book. It's good though. I do like this book. I would recommend it. He talks about if you're going to model a certain area, how water runs. Not necessarily a how-to book, but more like it says. How would you plan the scenery for your layout? So I do recommend that particular book. The next two are two by I'll probably pronounce this wrong, and I do apologize to the gentleman. Pelle Solberg. I believe he's from the Netherlands or something like that. Good guy though. He's got a lot of very good. I love his, especially his rolling stock and locomotive techniques. These two books, of these two, I much prefer this one here. Mountain to Desert goes through and talks about his concept, how he does stuff. He's very good. He's a very talented modeler. He models the more out in the Southwest. Desert type scenery, so it doesn't really apply a lot to what we're looking to model here in our layout. But it's good. It's good techniques. I like the how he does roads. I follow that. How he does his track looks very realistic, and whatnot. So, and how he does his forming with foam and how he cuts roads. Good information. It's certainly not a bad book. Although I prefer this one. If I had to pick one of them, I'd take this one over this one. This goes through kind of 4 different regions, similar to the other book. And he's got kind of a southwest or a desert scene, and the one he talks about in the Midwest is pretty good. Not the Pennsylvania where we are is Midwest, but he does do some nice stuff. And you look at that scene there, and you probably think it's very good, but again, not to be to sound like we're on a high horse. But we'll see some stuff coming up and some other publications I think you'll be very, very impressed with. But this scene's good. Again, this book is good. He goes through all the ground foam, how he applies various stuff, what he does. Although unfortunately, it's pretty much just ground foam and clump foliage, tufts and whatnot. Nothing really advanced. The scene does look nice though. Again, it might not capture all that well the way I'm recording it, and it's nice. He does give you all the bill of materials, what he uses for his stuff, and the real thing I like about this book is the very last segment. It's almost worth the book just to get this particular segment. If I can get to it, it's on the suburbs, and it's really a good section on roads and details and houses and sidewalks and a railroad crossing. Again, it's a smaller vignette scene in it, but he takes you through how to do it, how to modify some relatively inexpensive houses. Very, very good. I really like this one, but one particular segment of all the items in the book. To me, it makes it worth it, buying the book just for that one scene. So, again, I do recommend this book as well. This is a newer one that I purchased, Basic Scenery by Mr. Lou Sassi. If I pronounced that right, if not, I apologize. Newer book. He does some really nice stuff, really detailed stuff that I kind of like. And this book again, he has a little, takes you how to do the framing of your layout, and he seems to like this AMSI ground foam, which I did not like. I tried some, didn't like it. It just looks to be honest, too fake to me. I don't like it. Goes through his sequence. He uses some stuff called ground goop, which okay, and then how he goes through and secures everything, kind of standard stuff. And then more into trees, again, which we're not going to cover, chopping up leaves to make deadfall and whatnot. Okay, got it. Not really, to be honest, and no disrespect, but this book didn't really impress me all that much. It just didn't seem to have the stuff that I personally was looking for. You might love it. It might be a great book for you. So I'm not saying don't buy it. I'm just saying for what I was looking for, what was in here was just kind of a rehash of other techniques that I'd seen already. Well done, but it's not exactly what I was looking for. Also recently picked up another Column Box special issue on realistic scenery. This is really just a reprint of other issues out of various older model railroaders. Not bad though. I mean, it's good. It's again, okay, here do a cornfield, which is not bad. Okay, more on trees. We're not going to talk trees, like I said in this particular one. I do like this one particular article on how to kit bash a modular structure, because I'm going to need to do that for some of the stuff in our factory area. And there's another little article on a low relief, background type fixed structure, which I like. Not bad. Overall, this one for those two is probably realistic. But again, look at their forest. I mean, to me, no disrespect, to me it looks like you just went on and just stuck some trees in there. It just doesn't look all that realistic to me. Okay, more on making water and whatnot. So, this is okay. Usually I tend to always pick up stuff 'cause I like to read and see what other folks are doing and whatnot. So, but if you missed out on this one, you probably didn't miss out on a whole lot. And then finally, one that I bought for those the masochists out there that want to paint their own backdrop. I considered it and thought, no way. I just don't have the skill to do it. It would look like, I don't know, some weird, bizarre, demented 3-year-old came in here with and finger painted it across the wall the way I would look at it. But this is a pretty good book if you want to try it. It does take you through different techniques, different areas, how to paint and whatnot. So if you got the skill, you probably could pull it off. I know that I could not, but not a bad book at all. So again, those are some of the ones that I have and our thoughts on those. Again, these are probably more popular, and many folks may have seen these before. So let's move on to some stuff that might be a little different that maybe you haven't seen before. Alright, I also like to purchase every few years some of the scenery manufacturers' catalogs. And one thing I picked up a while ago, this is a Notch book. It's a model landscaping guidebook. It's basically a huge advertisement for Notch products. Okay, it's written by Notch, so everything in here is all their stuff. But it's not bad. It's not a bad book. Does talk about how they modify some of the foam products that they have for tunnel portals and whatnot, and track, and it does show the use of all the Notch products. It's it's not bad. If you can find it for a decent price, I recommend you pick it up. It does have some pretty good information. He models this really tiny layout here is all he does, but he does take you through all the different techniques and whatnot, and it's in English. Good point, it's all in English. And how he weathers tunnel portals, so not bad at all. It actually isn't bad. It's starting to get more looking towards some of the other European stuff that you're going to see shortly, because obviously Notch being a European manufacturer. So this is the English version of their model landscaping guidebook. Also picked up their most recent catalog. Again, I like to get these every few years just to have them. I know you can look at stuff online, but I prefer to sit down and, I don't know, I'm weird, with a cup of coffee and look through a catalog with nice color pictures of all the different products. I just prefer it. So I got the Notch catalog, the Hecky catalog, which goes through, and again, we're not talking trees, but their super art line trees are actually very good. And this, has information on the various stuff that we'll show on the microfloor and other various items. And of course, in the Hecky catalog, we talk about their wild grass and whatnot that we showed you some of that stuff. So it's good to have the catalog. Also pick up the Bush catalog. It was a relatively good price. Again, just to have it, just to look through, see what's in it. They make really nice color catalogs. I haven't really bought a lot of bush stuff. Some of the weeds and different flowers and whatnot are all plastically. To me, they look like plastic, so I haven't purchased it. But I do like to have a collection of catalogs. Again, I'll purchase this probably not again for several years. Now that I have the two most recent versions, and updates you can always get on the web. A lot of them are pretty good at updating with the new products. Alright, so, like I said, in terms of scenery, and please, for this segment, I do not want to sound arrogant, condescending, or I don't mean it like that. It might sound like that. But I've yet to see scenery done anywhere in the United States by anybody. I'm sure it has been done. I just haven't seen it like is done over in Europe. And these publications are what I highly recommend if you really, really want to take your scenery to the next level. What you ought to be considering looking at. One of the first ones I came across was this book. They're all by Eisenbahn Journal, by a gentleman named Joseph Brondel. And this talks about his layout that he had done. And I started looking through this and was just totally awestruck by it. And again, the layouts aren't that large. There's not a lot of trackage. They're very simple. They're more scenery based, or the focus is more on scenery. And it won't do justice to look at it flipping through here, but I highly recommend you purchase some of these. And a following segment will go into some more detail. But you look at these scenes, and again, I just don't know if it's going to show this way, but a scene like this, and I see some glare, I apologize, but I actually have some stuff coming up later that might show it better. It's just, you look at this, and it is not ground foam, it is not clump foliage. It looks much, much more realistic than anything I've seen in any of the books previously that we showed. Just really, really fine modeling. And I looked at it and I was trying to understand, well, what's he doing? How is he doing this? What products is he using to do it? And over the years, I've been able to kind of ascertain what he's using, and some of the stuff that we went through, we're going to go through, is that these products. That was a mouthful. Sorry about that. But these books are fantastic. Again, they're all in German, so that's one drawback. But very, very highly recommended. If anything else, look at the pictures. You can kind of see what they're doing. The Super Anlangen series don't have as much how-to type items. The other ones that do are more blue color books. And this is one of my favorites. This is one, Landschaftbau by Wolfgang and Cornelia Langmesser. Great book. Uses a lot of the products that we're going to talk about. Another one, again, we'll show this a little bit later. This is another one by Josef Brondel. Just great. And just the way these guys do their layouts is just fantastic. Craftsmanship, typical German craftsmanship. It's freaking outstanding. It talks about some of the track work and whatnot. And they don't hand lay their track, from what I can tell. I mean, most of these books they're buying, manufactured track, but it looks, with the way they work, it looks very good. Again, he does a lot of work with it on his own for his tunnel portals and for his bridge abutments and stone work and concrete work and whatnot. It's just outstanding. You've got to get some of these and look through them because I did, and it's just wonderful. Again, it's not going to show very well here, but I have a gallery coming up in another segment that might show a little bit better. He does go through, and there are some. He talks about water and landscaping and ground cover and using the various products, and I had to kind of look through here and try to understand what's he doing that's different, because you look at a scene like this, and I can't get the darn glare to go away, but we'll some later on we'll do it. The grass mats that he's using and whatnot. It's just really, really, you got to get some of these books. Again, this one I highly recommend. It's a newer one. This is by MIBA, Modelbahn Praxis. This is kind of the series of books. There's a lot more in a series like this. This one's kind of about newer items in scenery. Real good section, one I really like, where they go through the various manufacturers. And they talk about some of the products and show them from Anita Decor, Bush, Dr. Schroll, Faller, Hecky. And here's a lot of the products that I've purchased for use. Model Baum manufacturer, I don't know about them. There must be a smaller one that looks like Outstanding Trees. Model Scene, we're going to cover some of those mats. Notch, again, pretty popular here, even in the States. Polak, again, very good stuff. We'll go through some of these. I have some of these mats here. Of course, Silhouette, Miniature, the various mats. These you cannot buy in the States. These are the Filigrane Busche that you cannot buy in the United States. Some of the tufts and whatnot, flowering stuff, you can buy here in the States. So good, very good book. And later on it's got some more techniques on various things, and then what's really nice kind of here at the end of the book, it's got a listing of all the manufacturers and websites and addresses and stuff like that. So really do recommend, you know, this particular book, magazine, publication, whatever you might want to call it. And then we'll cover these in some more detail. These are, again, more inspirational, just to look at these books and see the scenery in them and see how detailed they look. Again, this won't do justice to it because of the poor lighting, but it's just, if you can see that, and this will come up later because I have another clip that shows this a little bit better. It's just beautiful. It just looks like nothing I've seen in any of the books I showed you. Never have I ever seen anything like that. Gorgeous. So very, very good. So any of these, highly, highly recommended. And we'll show a spot a little bit later on where you can purchase these. So these are fantastic. Here's a few more I purchased. Again, these are good, but compared to the other ones, if you're just starting off, I'd recommend you purchase some of the other ones that we just previously showed. But these are other in the series. Again, they're kind of Anlangbau and Planung is what these are. Kind of the blue colors are kind of more how-to type books. Good references, but the other ones I think are a little bit better. These two are nice because what this is here, this is kind of this is the super Anlangen book, and this is the book that's kind of the how-to of how this layout was built. So this is more, just kind of shows the layout, you know, pictures of the layout, track plan of the layout. I believe there's a track plan, you know, nice, you know, pretty pictures of the trains and the scenery. And again, you look at this stuff and you go, wow, how does this guy do this? And there's kind of an overview of the layout. And again, look at the layout, it's not very big. And that's it. Now he's got some, you know, hidden stuff and whatnot, but these layouts aren't that large, but they're just stunning, beautiful. And then this book is more about some of the, you know, how-tos and how some of the scenes in this book were made. So if you want something that's a good duo to have, you know, these two are very good. Would highly recommend those two as well. Okay, two more publications that I found that I need to mention that are also outstanding are these two books, Modeling Grassland and Modeling Trees. I know we're not talking about trees in this particular version, but since these two are from the same author and same publisher, I just throw them together here. Now, these are from the UK, so they're in English. So for those of us so inclined, that's good. And they're published by Wild Swan Publications, and the author is Gordon Gravitt. Outstanding books. He models in 7mm scale, but he goes through in his books and talks a little bit about scenery techniques again, you know, how to do grass, and he talks a lot about the static grass, and he kind of mixes and blends them for small areas, how he uses one of the notch puffers, you know, static grass applicators, good stuff on that, how to make, you know, taller grass, longer grass, windswept grass, again, how to make your own tufts and whatnot, and use of the tufts, using fibers. So there's a Woodland Scenics product that he uses, and he talks about, you know, how, you know, various wildflowers. Just an outstanding book, and some of the different weeds that he makes, how he makes some of the different color type weeds and whatnot. Really, really good book. Really highly recommend it. A little harder to find. It is from the UK. I'll post a quick screenshot here. It is available from Amazon UK, which is amazon.co.uk. It is available there. Just search for Gordon Gravitt and the book will come up. £25, not weight. That's the the cost of it. So it's pretty pricey, but you won't be disappointed. And probably a really good segment here toward the end of the book on puddles and mud, and even the stuff he does on the streets. Fantastic, really, really good. You got to see what he does on puddles. Very good. You know, some of the things like along the side of the road that we often don't think about. But this section here is worth the price of the book. Again, how he does it, that's a model. I know you're not going to be able to see that. Again, I apologize. And I couldn't find any better images from the book to show a screenshot of it, so this will have to do. But how he makes puddles and water, his water looks fantastic. And they're not going to be able to see it, but that's actually a model. It's great. Now again, he's in 7mm scale, so it's roughly O gauge or 1/48 scale, twice HO, but very good. Then toward the end, he's got some information on some of the stuff that he uses, some of the different mixtures for some of the talcs and whatnot, and then a good list of manufacturers, websites and whatnot. I've actually gone to some of these, such as Green Scene and Tremendous. They make some good foliage and leaves and whatnot, but it was just too darn expensive to ship from the UK. But I do recommend, check that site out, tremendousmodels.co.uk. Good site. So very, very highly recommended. Again, a little bit pricier book, but again, it's all in English. He has a Part 1 book on modeling trees, broadleaf trees. He also has one on conifer trees, which I have not purchased, only because I don't have as many. I won't go into detail on this one as much till we do our tree segment, but if you're going to buy them, you might want to buy them together if you're going to pay shipping to bring them over from the UK. And you might be able to find them on eBay or eBay UK or eBay DE or something like that. I looked at Amazon.de. It seemed a lot pricier. I saw the normal price, £25, on Amazon.uk. So again, very good book, highly recommended, by Wild Swan Publications by Mr. Gordon Gravitt. And finally, last but not least, this is a book on Joseph Brondel's work, and the real cool thing about this book, it's in German and English. So the title is Almost Real, or Fast wie echt. You really need to get this book if you're at all into scenery. Again, it goes through, the photography is fantastic, and he talks about several of the different layouts that he's built. And the nice thing about it is, besides the beautiful photographs in the book, to let you see this stuff, it's got German and English. So you can read it in English and get a lot out of it. Kind of more concepts. Again, not a whole lot of how-to. You won't find in this book things like are in some of the Kalmbach books about, paint this, sprinkle this ground foam, put this on, glue it, dry it. It's more concepts, how he does things. But again, the scenery is well worth buying the book for. And also what's very neat about this book, at the end of it, if you go to the very end, he's the photographer. Great job. It's amazing. For each of the pages, it kind of tells you what's in the scene, the manufacturer of some of the material, not everything, but some of the material in the scene. So you can kind of look at it and say, oh, it's a neat picture. Who made that rail car? Come back here, it might even tell you. So that's kind of neat, again, especially if you're into European stuff. But very, very good book. Big book. It's a large, heavy book. Definitely worth the money. I don't remember how much I paid for it. I've had it for years and kind of beat it up looking through it. But if you want to get a book that you can actually read that kind of describes Joseph Brondel's concepts and shows some of the layouts that are actually in some of the other books that we just showed. So you might recognize some of the stuff, some of the photographs of his layouts in here. Highly recommend it. Very good photography, and it's actually in English. So you ought to go out, get yourself a copy of this book. All right, let's take a little closer look at some of the publications. We'll do it this way so I can kind of show toward the end here some of the results achieved and why these are publications that I highly recommend. The first one here, this is what we showed before. This is by Cornelia and Wolfgang Longmesser. Very good. Shows a lot of really good information on using a lot of the products that we talked about, or that we're going to talk about. This is one of Mr. Brondel's books. This is a very, very good one. Would highly recommend this one if you're looking for only one or two of these to purchase. This is the MIBA Model Bond Proxys publication. This is very good. Like I said, this is highly, highly recommend this one, and it's only €10. So this is really, really a recommended one. It's got a lot of good information on the manufacturers, shows some of the various products that they offer, and then goes into and has some tips and techniques. Again, all in German, but you can pretty much figure out what they're showing you by looking at the pictures. And then for inspiration, more than anything, so the series of Eisenbahn journal called Josef Brondel's Traumanlagen. Don't know exactly how that translates. Perhaps someone from Germany can help us out there in the comments. But these are outstanding publications. The scenery in these is absolutely stunning. I guarantee you, if you haven't seen these, you've seen nothing like this. Again, not to sound like we're on a high horse, but nothing I've seen published here in the United States even comes close to the scenery that you're going to see in these publications. So highly, highly recommended. Just to look through them, it's awe-inspiring. These are the ones that I actually have, and it's a little hard to see here. We're going to come to a gallery that the publisher had on their site, and we'll try to show some of these in more detail. So, and here's a close-up of some of the detail that Mr. Brondel can get to. I'll enlarge this here. And I don't know how well this will come across on the actual YouTube video, but it's beautiful. It's definitely not clump foliage. It's definitely not ground foam. Not there's anything wrong with that. They all have a place in our toolkit, but this is way, way beyond that, and it just looks so realistic. I really, really like the way he does his work. This is another one that I have. Very, very good. And then just some of the inspiration. If you look at some of these photographs, and again, I don't think watching a YouTube video is going to do justice to this. Go out and buy some of these and look at these, at the pictures. Just look at that. It is so. And I looked at it for almost a year, trying to figure out why does it look so good compared to what I've seen in other publications. And it's just, I think the key word is it's vertical. Again, there's no clump foliage being used for the bushes. They look like actual bushes. The ground cover is not just ground foam, the ground up foam or whatever the heck the stuff is, sprinkled on the ground. You can see this is actually probably some of the mats, and he's got some other foliage put in there and other weeds put in there throughout it. Just the attention to detail is just stunning. I really, really enjoy this, and this is what I want my layout to look like. Now, whether we're going to get there or not, I don't know, but this is our goal. Again, that's an enlarged version of what this gentleman can do. Beautiful, just absolutely beautiful scenery. I've seen nothing like this, like I said, until I found these publications. And his attention to detail, he has figures around, and definitely more scenery than track and trains. They're definitely heavier on the scenery. And here's this is the gallery that's on the publisher's site out of some of these publications. And if you just look at it, it's just so fun to look at. It's the trees and how he ties in the background. He does a wonderful job when he does backgrounds and ties them in. I failed miserably compared to him, but we'll see what we can do to remedy the situation. But it's just beautiful the way he does his groundwork. And you can see in here, how detailed it looks, and the cracks and the grass and then whatnot coming through the pavement. And a scene like that, it's just beautiful. With the trails and the paths and the structures look very good. It's just beautiful. If you're not inspired by this to take your scenery to the next level, then I don't know what would inspire you. But this stuff, I love this. That's why I highly recommend. Maybe you don't get quite as many as I've purchased, but buy some of these. Look at them. If you care about scenery, really, really look at these and understand the concepts that he shows through here, and look at the scene. You can sit there and look at these photographs for 20 minutes each and just pick out different things every time you look at it. Really, really do enjoy these particular publications, so highly recommend them. And again, this here, a lot of his bridges he scratch builds, and he cuts them out of foam and carves them by himself and weathers them. So the bridges, and a lot of the bridges and tunnel portals and abutments and whatnot, he does a lot of his own work on. So beautiful, beautiful. So this is the type of stuff that for inspiration has really inspired me, and this is kind of what Steve and I are going to aspire to when we build our layout, just because it's so fantastic. Again, we purposely did not include a lot of track. It's a very simple track plan. not real involved. We purposely did not want to fill up every inch of space with track because we want to have more scenery, as much scenery as possible to complement it. Our philosophy is going to be more, we're going to rail fan the layout as opposed to, try to squeeze, every little bit of track that we can. I would much rather have my layout look like this as opposed to just being filled as one of those spaghetti plans. So, as a reference, this is beautiful stuff, highly recommended. And if you buy some of this stuff, and we'll show next where we recommend purchasing some of these magazines to look at, you absolutely, if you care about scenery. If you don't, then you probably don't want to spend the money. But if you do care about scenery and you want to take it to the next level, you will not be disappointed in these publications. All right, now that we've looked at some of the products, let's look at a few of the websites for the manufacturers and for sources. Not in extreme detail, but just to show you where they are. We'll start off with where to obtain some of the Eisenbahn journals and the MIBA books that I showed you. My preferred choice is to go to Amazon.de. That's the German version of Amazon. And what's really nice about it now is they actually have it in English. Before it was all German. You could still make it through. You could still log into your account and add things to your cart and ship them, and the shipping was not unreasonable. It is coming from Europe, and the prices on this site obviously are in euros, so you have to look at the conversion factor. And you can see for me, since I've been here quite a bit, it does come up with all the various books that I've looked at. But to find them, to find the MIBA, just type in MIBA model bond, it'll pull that up, do a search, and it pulls up most of the books. And the one that I highly recommend is the one here. This is the Neue Wege in Landschaftsbau. This is the one that I showed before. It's only 10 euro. It's a steal. I mean, it really is a steal for 10 euro, which I don't know exactly what the exchange rate is today, but even if it's, 20%, you're talking 12 bucks. Very good. If you wanted to search for the Eisenbahn journals, you just got to type in either Eisenbahn journal, or what I did was actually search for Josef Brandl, and all his stuff comes up. So you can see they are here. Again, these are kind of the normal price for them is about $13.70, roughly 14 euro. So what's that equate to? Roughly $17 US. Like I said, if you're an Amazon.com member, have an account, you can add, you can log in, add them to your account, add them to your wish list, and stuff like that. Here's the other one that I recommend. That's a good book right there. So that's a source for the literature, for the Eisenbahn Journal and the MIBA books. Another option that's located here in the U.S. is Reynolds. They're out in Chicago. It's a European focused model shop. This is their website. These guys are okay. You'll see that they're a little bit more expensive, and they don't tell you if it's in stock, so you have to ask them. You can see their books here. For example, here's the some of the Brandl books here. They're $27, so to speak. Even with the euro conversion from 14 euro, you're still talking $17. Now you do got to pay to have them shipped over, but you still got to pay shipping from these guys. So, but it is an option. If you want something fast, if these guys have it in stock, you'll most likely get it a lot quicker than you would from Amazon.de. But I've ordered from these guys several times, many times actually, and usually within 2 weeks they show up. They're only magazines, they're not real large, and it's always been fine. I've ordered from these guys quite a bit, and always been good. All right, one final little bit of screen capture here on some other inspirational things. This is an outstanding video by a gentleman, and I'll show you his YouTube site, Vikas Chander, I believe. Beautiful. These are photographs that he has on his website, so these are not mine. All credit to him. He went and visited one of the layouts that was built by Josef Brandl, and he made a video of it. So it is something that I highly recommend. So if you go into YouTube And again, his channel is Vikas Chander. I highly recommend it. He's got some other outstanding videos. This guy is really, really good. I'm telling you what. You watch some of his other videos. I've watched all of them, and I certainly hope he does more. The one in question is right here. This is on the model railway that he went to visit. I won't play it because I don't know if I'm allowed to. And of course, there's going to be an ad that's going to run. But this is where he went, and you can see I made a comment. Was hoping that he will post more. You got to go, again, if you care about scenery, go watch this video, at least this one. This is the gentleman here, and he makes beautiful videos, prototype and this particular one here on the model. So it's good. It shows the layout. It's in English, so you can actually understand, at least for us, those here in the United States. Very helpful. I just cannot recommend this video enough. It's beautiful. He does it very well. I'm not going to show it. I'm not sure I'm allowed to, but he shows it. He does some really neat cinematic effects, and he has details of the layout. So again, I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube for doing that, but definitely go check out this video. It's one of my favorite ones I've seen, and I've tried to look at a lot of various model railroad videos, more pertaining to scenery, and to see what other folks have done, tips, techniques, and you don't find a lot that I would call really, really fantastic. This is one of them. So again, I recommend go to Mr. Vikas Chander's site. Watch some of his other videos too, because they're all very good, very, very well done videos. And check out the one here on one of the layouts that this gentleman has, that I believe he had Joseph Brondel do the scenery for. Again, you will not be disappointed.